your thoughts on another big victory as you advance forward.
Yeah, of course. First of all, really happy to be in the semis again, third time in a row. Well, couldn't dream of it maybe 4 years ago, because now it's 3. About the match, tough match. First 2 sets were kind of under control. He was missing some balls, some important points, so was feeling easy, I should say. Then third and fourth set was really tough. He played top level, served really big, was breaking the rhythm a little bit, so it was really tough sets, and I'm really happy that in the fourth I managed to, first of all, hold my serve really easily and managed to break him in the end, where I had few opportunities before also. Really a good tactical match, and I liked it. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Questions? Neil, go ahead.
Neil Best from Newsday. As you said, this is your 3rd straight semis. How do you think that having had that experience now will help you get to the final and, of course, try to win the final?
Yeah, I always said that experience helps me. So you never know, because you're going to play tough opponents, semis or final. Who knows, maybe Novak, but first, of course, Felix or Carlos, whoever wins going to be on huge fire. You know, they're much younger than even me, even if I'm not old. But for them, it's going to be a first semis of a slam. Experience is not everything, because, for example, when I was in my first semis of a slam, I won it. So it doesn't mean that if you're there for the first time, you're going to lose it. But I like that I have this experience. I know how is it. I'm not going to be tight. And I know that, after it's a question about tennis. If I play good, it's going to be not easy for my opponent, and that's the most important that I'm going to try to do.
You mentioned Djokovic. Do you have to make sure not to think about him as you're going through each round, focusing on what you have to do?
I don't think about him, because as we saw, anybody can beat anybody. If he's in the final and if I'm there, I'm happy. He's also happy, I guess. Every time, because he plays on the days where I don't play, I watch his matches just because I enjoy watching tennis. That's it. I just, same today, for example. I'm not going to root or cheer for somebody. I'm just going to enjoy the tennis and then prepare for the winner. And same every match.
Okay. Oh.
Daniil Medvedev, ESPN. The next opponent you're going to have is going to be the first man born in the 2000s to reach this far in the tournament. You joked after your win that you're not next generation anymore, but how do you feel about playing these younger type of kids now? What are you seeing in this next generation coming up? Because it feels like here at the Open, a lot of teams on both sides, women's and men's, are really kind of making a push.
It's great because, if we talk, because I cannot talk, of course, about girls. It's tough. It would be tougher for me to talk. I'm not on their tour, but talking about Carlos, we heard talking about him last year already. There is this young Spanish guy coming up. A lot of course, people talking about him as a new Rafael or whatever. And it's all too soon and, too young and too soon. And then he's in the quarters here. Who knows? He can win today. He can be in semis. I mean, as soon as you're in quarters, you can do anything. You can win the tournament. So it's great for him. I mean, 18 years old. When I was 18, I was barely playing futures and trying to pass the first round. So I think it's great for tennis. It's great for him. After, you never know how your career gonna go. If you're gonna win 20 slams or maybe 1 or maybe 0. But same for Felix. He's already here for a long time. So great for him to be doing these steps. He made 2 quarters in a row. Let's see who wins today.
How hard has it been for your generation and even younger generations to just kind of break through, because the guys at the top have been so legendary for so long?
Yeah, of course, now Rafa and Roger, as we see, are getting a little bit older. They're playing a little bit less tournament, more injured. Before it was even tougher because, it depends which breakthrough you are talking about, to be in the top 100 or to be in the top 10 or top 5. And so before, the top 5 was basically taken by 3 of them. So there were two spots left. And that's where it was really tough, because if we talk about the top 100, then probably doesn't matter if it's Roger on the top or Medvedev or Zverev, because, well, you need to beat other guys on challengers, not talking about the legends before. So, yeah, that's the biggest difference, I feel like, of course, and it's normal to talk about, and now it's a bit easier than it was before to be number 2, 3, or 4 in the world. The same time, it's still very tough, and that's where the difference is, yes.
Okay, back.
Josh Robinson, Wall Street Journal. I wanted to ask you about your return game and kind of how you figure out where you stand, because you stand so far deep into the court. What does that do for you? And, you know, is it different here on Ash where you have so much more room than maybe on center court or on Chatriya?
Yeah, first of all, I like when you have room for the return, because like this I have the option to go back. There are few center courts where I cannot do it, and of course when I was ranked lower, that's where you have to play on the outside courts, and that's where you don't have this opportunity, and that's not good. I was not feeling good because I could lose matches just because I felt like I was. If I can say, discriminated, that I couldn't use my position on the return. If you see all of my matches, sometimes I change it up, depends the opponent, but being far back just gives me time to react to the serve, and that's as easy as that. Of course, it needs practice, so that's why I'm trying to do both. I'm trying to do everything to be ready to use it. For example, this Australian Open, when I made final, I was returning much closer to the line just because I felt that was working better. Yeah, it depends on the opponent, and if it's working, I like to return from the back, yeah.
Craig?
Daniil, Craig Gabriel, 9 Radio Australia. I mean, obviously we don't know who you're playing. So, for broadcast purposes, can you first look at what you have to do against Felix and then what you have to do if it's Carlos?
I think they actually play very similar games, so I do think I can talk about them as a one player, I would say, because both, try to turn around with a forehand, but have very good backhands where they try to also accelerate the ball. It's not like you play on their backhand and you know that, okay, it's easy, you can have some time to breathe. Both try to take the ball early on the return, also trying to pressure. As I say, I'm going to be interested to see the match because I do think their game is really similar. I mean, what I have to do, of course, I'm going to talk about this later with my coach, but in general, against these guys, you should not try to not give them all the time they want, otherwise they're going to destroy you.
Okay. Last question in the room, Andrew.
Hey, Daniil. Andrew, the ATP website. I'm curious, now that you've been here several times this deep in the major, what's the greatest lesson you've sort of taken from all those experiences late in these tournaments?
Different ones, because if we talk about the match against Rafa, there is not really a lesson, but just to leave this match was special, and that's where I felt like, okay, no, I was kind of upcoming on fire, these things with the crowd, and if I would have lost this match in 3 straight sets, you never know, who knows, maybe I got a bit lucky being there. Djokovic, Federer actually lost just the match before I played them, and bringing it that far, I kind of understood, well, okay, I almost beat Rafa being 2 sets down in a break, so, well, I do belong here. And last year against Dominic, if I talk about the lesson, it was more about how to play him, and I was kind of not ready this match. When I say not ready, of course, I prepared it well. It's just that he played really great level, and I couldn't find a solution, which I took a lesson and I tried to do better in Nitro ATP finals. Even if it was super tough, there was a lesson. So there's no Dominic here, no Rafa, so I'm just going to try to play my best and see which other lessons I can take.
Okay, we're going to go virtual on the left-hand side. Lucas, you are live.
Hi there, Daniil. Lucas Sweets with USOpen.org. Congratulations on making it to the semifinals. Bit of an off-topic question. You've mentioned that you're quite a hockey fan. I'm just curious what got you into the sport and what qualities, I guess, do you seen the players that you sort of apply to yourself on the tennis court?
Oof, to be honest, yeah, about qualities, I don't know. I'm not gonna answer this question. I just like watching it. It's just a great sport. So, I definitely the thing I can say about hockey different to other sports, because other sports they are so. There are such good cameras and such good replays and everything that I actually feel really good watching in my sofa and relaxing. Hockey is not the thing. When I watch it on TV, I actually cannot understand what's not that I cannot understand, but I cannot see the putt. So it's not easy. And when I watch it live, I've done it 2 times. That's super fun and super enjoyable. So hopefully many more times in my life, I'm going to watch hockey live.
Okay, thank you, Lucas. Klaus, you are live.
Hi, Daniil. Congratulations. That's Klaus from Der Spiegel in Germany. Daniil, Francis Tiafoe mentioned after his last match that without the veterans like Nadal and Federer in the locker room, that there's a kind of different atmosphere. Can you confirm this, that, especially the younger guys are thinking, have more self-confidence in themselves?
I don't feel it. I think it's more... for me, because everybody can have different opinions, it's completely normal, so everybody talks what he feels. For me, it's actually more about that when they were a bit younger, or even a few years ago, we always saw them in semis. So again, it's all about they were in the top 4, so they couldn't meet each other before semis. And almost all the Grand Slams, they were in semis. So they were taking all the spots just because they're the greatest in the history of tennis. So they're amazing tennis players. And of course, the fact that, for example, this US Open, they're injured. Before, there was, let's say, 1 or 2 spots left in the semifinals if somebody would have done an amazing 5-set match to beat them. Now it's 3 spots. If we say Novak is in the semis, which still, of course, he has to fight to. So it just definitely opens up places for new guys. But then, for example, if we talk about me, I'm really happy that I managed to make it to 3 straight semifinals US Open where, well, can we say also that I took this 1 spot all the time? It's a question of level of tennis abilities and everything. So for me, I don't feel the change of the energy. Again, talking for myself, I always try to do my best. I don't care if Roger or Rafa is here. I want to win the tournament. It's going to be tougher if they're here. Of course, it would be tougher if they would be 30 years old. But I just want to do my best, and I don't care if they're here or not.
Okay, thank you.